Hey, this is Leif Gamford. I played the cash register thief in The Amazing Spider-Man, and you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast.
Hey, this is Rich McDonald, and I play Commander David Mason on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And you're listening to Everything Geek podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek Podcast.
Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hey, it's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Master Plo Koon in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Everything Geek, the podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek podcast.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast. I'm your host, Ruari, and joining me today is a very special guest. We have actor Anthony Forrest, who is best known for playing a Sandtrooper and a deleted scenes character called Fixer in Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope and the USS Wayne Crewman in James Bond, The Spy Who Loved Me. So how are you, Anthony?
I'm very well. I'm good, thanks, Ruari.
It's great to have you join us today on the podcast.
Well, it's a good day to be indoors podcasting.
Yeah, it definitely is. Much better than spending time outside in the nice weather. Why do that when you can podcast?
That's true. Well, we could take the podcast outside, I suppose. I don't know if you do a roaming one ever.
Well, if I kick my bedroom window open, maybe.
Right. Well, I've opened the window, so you might hear the seagulls in the background.
Yeah, I think I did hear something.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not my stomach rumbling. That's really seagulls.
Yeah, so anyway, getting on with the questions. My first question for you, Anthony, is how did you decide you wanted to be an actor?
Wow. I think when there's so many options, or not so many, it's not really a question about options, but when you're young and you kind of look at, some of the things that you dream about that you'd like to do with your life or try, or it was more about trying it first. I don't know if the decision was really sort of like a cut decision, saying, well, this is what I'm going to do. And it was really more about exploring when I was in school and becoming a member of a drama club and things like that, and just following my interests, really. And one of the things that had a really big impact on me was an English teacher I had when he brought in a recording of Richard Burton reciting Rime of the Ancient Mariner that was released on Decca Records, and he played this. It was an English literature class, and he played this, and it was. I was so captivated with it that I just remember the kind of whole fascination with that performance, and I suppose I still to this day have a real interest. I love radio, and I think the spoken word is magnificent. It's a really it's an important gift that we all have to share.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. And I definitely could hear seagulls when you were talking.
Right.
Just for the record, yep, we've officially gone outdoors.
Okay.
Yeah. So my second question is, how did you first get involved with Star Wars?
That was really through my agent and through a casting opportunity that came up. In those days, there was no internet to find out what was happening and what productions were going on and things like that. So you really rely on your contact with your agent, and the fact that your agent is being fed information from the casting directors. So I was really just called in through an introduction through my agent. And I think it was probably the fact that there were a number of actors in London who were specifically playing American roles. And so the casting must have gone out like that. I never saw the casting report. And so I went in for an interview with George Lucas, and that's where it started.
Very nice, yeah. My third question is, what is your favorite memory from the Star Wars, Sam?
Yeah, let me see. I just wanted to finish something else on that other question is you see in those, we're talking about a period in let's say in filmmaking that it was a much more, there was much more opportunity to actually get in front of the director. Today, so much more casting is done via video. And so the casting directors just want people to submit things on video. So there's not often face-to-face opportunity for actors to get to meet with directors and that, unless they're playing major roles in the film, like really major roles. So anyways, back and now to your next question. Memories from the set. I suppose one of my best memories is that moment when George Lucas asked me to put on the costume and do the scene with Alec Guinness, because it was such a surprise. I had no idea I was going to be called upon for that. And so it was really in a very short space of time. So it was like somebody all of a sudden handing you this wonderful birthday present when it's not your birthday.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. My fourth question is, what can you tell us about your deleted scenes character, Fixer?
It's, I actually think Disney should make a whole feature film based around Fixer and Cammy, because
that would be interesting, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, it's just because it taken in a whole other direction, because you've got these two characters didn't really go anywhere in the storyline, so you can do an awful lot. You can take them anywhere you want to, really. So there is this kind of interesting connection. So you could easily get two young actor and young actress, and they can have this journey on Tatooine that has all sorts of escapades as they have to escape because they were friends of Luke's.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, as pretty much everything is proven in the Star Wars universe, like there are no minor characters. I mean, pretty much every character in some form or another gets a story, like, in the expanded universe even, because the expanded universe, I think, some of the guys have written some material on your character, isn't that right?
Yeah. You see, the interesting thing with Fixer and Cammy is because they have an established relationship, then it's very easy for them to have had children. So you can just keep going.
Yeah. Definitely. My fifth question is, what was it like getting to work on a James Bond movie in The Spy Who Loved Me?
That was very interesting, because that was the first time, that was when they actually built the enormous soundstage at Pinewood Studios. And this is a colossal, this is massive when you kind of appreciate that it's 100 feet high and you can put full-size submarines inside it. And so just the experience of working in such a cavernous indoor environment in the dead of winter was kind of, it was cold. I'll say that. This is not a space you can heat. So, the heating bill would be way too high. It'd be half the production budget. But it was very interesting, because it was Lewis Gilbert, the director, was wonderful. He's a really charming gentleman, and just a real pleasure to be around. very, absolutely in control and totally calm and just, just a great pleasure. And it was fun, when you have a large production like that and you have a lot of people working is in the cast a lot of us knew each other. So therefore, whenever there was downtime and that, we played poker. So we played a lot of poker. Not for big money, because none of us had any big money, but it was just to pass the time and a fun thing to do.
Nice. My sixth question is, what was it like working with the cast and crew of The Spy Who Loved Me?
That was, again, that was the time that we spent together was very much, because this is a large cast in terms of smaller roles and that. So that was really about the fact that it was really just the opportunity to hang out with people who in many cases I'd already worked with on different productions. So a lot of us knew each other. So it was very easy to kind of just, rekindle those friendships again.
Yeah, it's great, definitely. My final question is, do you have any upcoming acting roles or other projects you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I've always got, I've always got something on the go. I've got this fall, actually, I'm going back in to finish production on my feature film, which is called The Ballad of Bob's Garage. And I'm finally kind of knuckling under and going to bite the bullet and get the film finished, because it's been lingering on for quite a while now. And so the performances by the actors, I'm not in it personally. I directed it and wrote it. And so I've been working. What's held me up is really the editing, because that's a whole nother ball game when you're dealing in post-production. But what was wonderful about it, we shot it very quickly, and it's a really, some very raw moments in it, and it's quite an interesting story about these characters. But the actors gave wonderful performances, so I really do want to get it out there, so that everybody can see the work that was put into it by everybody who was involved. So that's one of the things I have to do, and at the same time, I'm always working on my music and working on new material and that.
Yeah, sounds great. I can't wait to see everything you're working on when it eventually gets released.
And then occasionally, I actually get I'm up in London busking. I have a license to busk on the London Underground.
Very nice, yeah.
Yeah, so I can actually do that. And maybe I should go busking in Dublin, because I know there's some fantastic buskers in Dublin.
Yeah, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So we're now looking for listeners to call in with questions to Anthony if they have any, or leave them in the chat. And we do actually have one from our Facebook page, and I'm sure you get asked this particular question a lot. Tony Boyd, I think that's how his name is anyway, asks, how hot was it in the Sandtrooper costume when you shot A New Hope?
How hot was it? It was hot. I can say that I was... Yeah.
Never mind the fact that you were in, a desert,
Well, no, it's also the fact that it's I had never put the costume on. There was never any dress rehearsal or costume fitting. I'd never put that costume on until the moment they put it on me before we filmed. So I had no idea what to expect, and so I think I was more concerned than worried about the heat, that I was more concerned about doing the scene, which was natural, but also a little bit concerned about being able to stand up, because I was having to walk in sand all the time. And so it's as you know, walking in sand anyways is not, even if you don't have the costume on. And so that was the first time. So I was navigating in the costume was one of the things that I found the most difficult, as opposed to the heat. The heat was naturally there, so there's nothing you could do about that. So yes, it was hot.
So yeah, thank you very much, Tony, for leaving the question. So moving on from those, unless we get any more questions, of course, Anthony mentioned it to me before the show, and of course I was planning to anyway. We were planning to talk about the convention Invasion Dublin IV, which is going to be taking place next month over the May 3rd to May 5th weekend, or as pretty much anyone calls it, the May the 4th weekend. And I'll be attending the event, and Anthony, of course, you'll be a guest signer from the Star Wars movies at it. So what are you most looking forward to at this Invasion, Anthony?
Well, it's getting the opportunity to spend a little more time I haven't spent a lot of time in Dublin, so I'd like to give me an opportunity to actually, just to rekindle that wonderful vibe that happens in Dublin. And it also, I'm going to get a chance to visit. I have two sisters in Ireland. See,
very nice.
Just west of Limerick, so it'll give me a chance to actually pop over there and say hi to them as well and give them a hug. And so that's
that's great.
Yeah, so that's great, but it's I think it's going to be a fantastic event, and it's I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and of course you have done an Invasion event before, but it was one of the Invasion Belfast ones. What were some of your favorite memories from that event?
Well, the staging of it is really, it's such a, that's one of the things. It really creates a fantastic atmosphere.
Yeah. Definitely.
And so for anybody that comes into it, you feel like you're entering this whole, you're really entering a whole new realm. You're entering, you feel like you're being taken on this little special journey.
Yeah. It's as if you're entering Star Wars, essentially. That was my first thought when I went to my first Invasion.
Yeah. And that's really special because you don't get that at many conventions.
Exactly, yeah. I completely agree with that. And of course, you participated in an Actors Q&A at that event as well. Do you want to talk about that Q&A and who were the other, actors that were taking part in the Q&A?
Oh, it was. Hang on a second now. After you do a few events, you start to forget the other ones. It's Jeremy Bullock was there at that Q&A, if I remember. I've done a few Q&As with Jeremy, so it's trying to remember which location you do them in. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's nice to do the Q&As because you get a chance to actually, spend a bit of time talking about and finding out what people are interested in. And, they have their questions for you as well. I mean, often people are shy to come up with questions and talk. I understand that. I know if I go to events, I'm very shy about asking questions and that, but it's just like, sitting down and having a chat, really. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, except there's a big audience around.
Yeah, well, you're just having a chat with a larger group of people. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Ben.
Yeah. I guess the best way to think about it, or maybe how I think about it, I think it's like being in the kitchen at parties.
Yeah, just depends what kind of parties, of course.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about ones that are reasonably positive, let's say.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm definitely very excited for Invasion Dublin myself. I mean, because my first ever convention, like how I first found out about conventions, was Invasion Dublin. So, I mean, it's not like the biggest convention in the world, but it kind of has a special place in my heart because, it's the local event and, it's how I first found out about conventions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's always great when, I found out that there's an Invasion Dublin going on. And, in many ways as well for me personally, because I think definitely the last Invasion Dublin took place over the May the 4th weekend. It kind of now feels for me like the May the 4th weekend isn't complete if I don't have an Invasion Dublin that weekend.
Right. Yeah, it's something you look forward to in the yearly calendar. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It should definitely be a great event. I mean, the guest lineup is pretty good. I mean, for those who don't know, as well as Anthony, there's going to be Alan Rusko, who was in The Phantom Menace as Plo Koon and Dulce Dauphine. I should really bring up the website.
Right.
Trying to remember off the top of my head isn't the best. There's Femi Taylor, who was in Return of the Jedi, and Brian Rowe, the sculptor of Darth Vader, and Will Slimey, a comic artist, and also Barry Holland, who was the U Rebel Scum Imperial Officer, Lieutenant Lenz in Return of the Jedi, and Alan Harris, who was Bosk the Bounty Hunter in Empire. And he did a ton of stuff on that. I mean, not giving Alan Harris enough credit, really, by just saying he was Bosk, because I remember reading over his resume when he was announced, and I was like, wow, he did a lot of stuff.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, on Star Wars alone. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good guest lineup. it'll definitely be interesting to see the actors Q&A from that one, because 5 pretty good actors there. So
Right.
definitely thinking that this is one of the strongest invasions yet. And I'm definitely excited for it. I mean, it's less than a month to go. I think actually today makes exactly 3 weeks until the event. I vaguely remember Emerald Garrison posting a picture like that earlier today. So it's definitely going to be a great event, that's for sure. And actually, I hope you get to see the new displays that they debuted at this year's Invasion Belfast, because they have a couple of really good new sets that I think are two of the best they've done yet. You might have seen pictures of them. They've got a Jabba the Hutt display now, and a Hoth one with the Hoth ion cannon. No, not ion cannon. One of the laser turrets. Those are their two new sets they debuted at the Belfast one last month. They are really good. Yeah, two of their best so far. And I'm pretty sure they're planning to bring the Jabba one anyway, because they kind of hinted at that when they announced Demi Taylor. But those are two really good displays they have now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's great. I'll get a chance to see them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One last thing. You asked me what I was working on. Actually, this weekend, just a small plug. I'm going to be at the Elf Festival in the Netherlands, in Utrecht, in the Netherlands. I don't know if you have any listeners from the Netherlands, but I'll be in Utrecht this coming from the 18th. 19th to the 21st, which is coming up very shortly, and that's in Utrecht in the Netherlands. It's called the Elf Festival, and I'll be there as a guest of the 501st Dutch Garrison.
Very nice. That sounds like it'll be a great event. I'm sure we might have a few, Netherlands listeners, and if we do, well, don't be shy. Let yourself known.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think that's all of our questions to you, Anthony. So thank you for joining us on the podcast. It's been a pleasure having you join us.
Okay. Well, listen, my pleasure to catch up with you guys again.
Yeah, and hopefully we can talk to you again at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Check out our website website.everythinggeekpodcast.com/EGP. Check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/everythinggeekcast. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/everythinggeekp. Check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/official-everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our Mixcloud profile, www.mixcloud.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Email us at the following email, everythinggeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our companion podcast, Everything Geek Comiccast, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekcomiccast. Make sure to check out the host's YouTube channels. Mine is www.youtube.com/user/Separatist Destroyers. Check out Anthony Forrest's website, www.anthonyforrest.com. And check out Channel 138 where we broadcast live from, www.channel138.com. Geeks out, everyone.